All right, everybody. Today is November 4th, and it is election week here in the United States. If you're in the United States, get out and go vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just get out and go do it. But the purpose of today's video is because I want to, not only for myself, take a look at the historical context of what happens in the market, but also look at what has been a trend in the market leading up to the election and after the election. And you're going to see here, I'm in Thinkorswim. We are in the on-demand mode, which allows us to go back to a specific date. And here we are on November 9th, which is the day after election day in 2016. So we're going to look at the 2016 election. We're going to look at the 2020 election, and then we're going to look at what's happening in the market this week as we approach the election tomorrow, which is November 5th. And obviously you can see we have quite a bit of a bigger move here, which is the day after election day. But since the futures market is open 24 hours during the week, for the most part, we want to look at the futures, not the actual S&P or whatever individual ticker you want, although this is applicable to that. But you'll notice up here in the top left, I have the S&P 500 futures pulled up, and that will allow us to see what happened leading up to the day of election and what the election results were. So you'll notice here on Sunday, we had the market open and it was rather inside. And mind you, we're doing all of this on the 5-minute chart because I think that'll give us a much more accurate representation of what a majority of the price action was like. Because as you'll see here on Monday and Tuesday, here's Sunday, we're coming into Monday. What do you notice is that we have a lot of doji candle and inside bars. Just a lot of very confusing price action with no real trend or direction. Although you will notice that from the open that we have down here through the opens that we have up here, we are in somewhat of an uptrend, but this is one of those scenarios where the price action doesn't really move much, and it can be pretty confusing and ultimately lead to some losses or some blown accounts, right? So the purpose of this video too, I want to share why you should or should not trade on these days. And me personally, I likely will not be trading at all, probably until Wednesday or Thursday. And if I do, it's going to be a half or a quarter of the contract size I would normally trace. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to do is preserve capital, not risk it to potentially have it ripped away from us. So getting back to the purpose of this video, we did have a majority of inside price action. So let's draw that out with these horizontal lines. So we had inside price action here, and then we had the same for a majority of the morning here, right? So arguably from Monday morning all the way through the first 7-8 hours of that morning, it was virtually just sideways and nothing really happened. But then we had our expansion move up to the top, right? So we had towards the close of that day, we had another expansion move up. So we were moving at a pretty good clip and saw some decent price action. And then as we move ourselves over towards the following day, which is Tuesday, which is election day, you'll notice here, I want to try to bring this into full frame. Okay, so here we are. We've got our Tuesday right here coming up, and we're still very much inside Monday's price action. So here's Monday, very, very inside. And when we look at this on a condensed level, it's much easier to see. When I expand it like this, it looks like we do have some movement in the price action, which we do. But notice what happens when we zoom out. It's very much sideways. And if you're looking to take decent chunks of gains from the market, this is definitely not the days to be trading, right? Okay, so here we are. Monday, we're very much inside until we get to arguably the, afternoon, like late morning, afternoon hours. Okay, so here we are. Afternoon, we're beginning our expansion up. And then overnight, very much inside. So we'll mark out these levels as well. So we're inside again. Move up, inside. Okay, here we come into Tuesday. We are still very much inside. And then here is when all the fun begins, right? So you're sideways all day Monday. You expand up a little bit. You're sideways all day Tuesday. And then the election starts to take place where the ballots are being counted. So here we are looking at everything. Okay, we're starting to see some movement up here, getting some afternoon excitement. Now we're starting to get some afternoon, evening chop. And then the market starts to digest what exactly happened with the election, where President Trump at the time ultimately won. So interesting to see that we do have somewhat of a breakout here. Boom, we come up and we're still chopping around. So even though we have the market telling us, okay, we're digesting what's happening in the presidential race, these ballots are being counted, blah, blah, blah. Now you start to see where the fun begins. And we're looking at this. Now you see the bigger expansion moves, and let's try to zoom in on this as best we can so it paints a better outlook. But now we're into the afternoon and evening hours, and we're coming down. Okay, so now we're starting to see, we're starting to see this push up, but we have a monstrous sell-off overnight. So I think this tells you it doesn't matter who wins or who loses, what that significance is on the market. I mean, it does give us what the overall sentiment was at that time of the decision being made. But even so, you're seeing this big push down, and we're looking at what appears to be somewhat of a push through all of the previous day's price action. But we bottom out down here, and then we push back up right through that price action again, and then we expand. So to put a big bow on this election cycle for 2016, you have that move, and it looks like a little bit of a cup and handle style expansion move. But the point is, you're going to have some limit down or limit up factors on your brokerage account. And we're seeing this with some of the prop firms that were trading. They're coming out with their news trading or election trading rules. And for good reason, because ultimately these prop firms claim that they want to protect you as the trader. And that's fine, but ultimately, if we want to take the risk, we should be able to take risk. I'm not a fan of rules, and most of you, I'm sure, are not. So these rules can be a little bit annoying, because if you are one of the lucky few who want to get short at the top here and ride this thing down, well, you just had yourself a pretty good day. So I understand the frustrations around that, but I ultimately think, based on these previous days' price action as we zoom out, look, your inside break, you can't predict when it's going to break, or you, for the most part, cannot anticipate when it's going to break out and expand up. And most people, especially myself included, you lose the most money or you blow the most accounts, whatever you want to say, during those inside moves. And when we're just looking at the week leading up to the election, very much inside, lots of doji candles. Yes, you get the push up, but again, very much inside, push up. So if you're trading options and you have the theta and the time decay really just breaking down your premiums, you're going to get smoked even if you do catch somewhat of the move to the upside or the downside. In this case, the upside, right? But as we go back to looking at what happened on the night of the election overnight, you do have your push down. But even so, look at these aggressive moves up that are immediately sold off. Push up, inside bar, sold off. Push up, inside bar, sold off. Same down here. And then you base pretty well and you push up, but it's still the same. There is no clean price action. And that's the moral of the story with this video, guys. And this is only the 2016 election, right? So you're very much inside. And if you do have your nice expansion moves, you're going to get those candles that chop you around a bit and either mess with your mental, mess with your drawdown, your theta, whatever the case is. So that's the 2016 election. The 2020 election was on November 3rd. So let's go to November 3rd of 2020. We'll start here on Monday. And then obviously we're going to have to zoom all the way out because the market looked much different. Okay. And then we can remove all of these drawings. Remove drawings. Clear drawing set. Yes. Okay, so here we are Monday, and then we have our election. So let's zoom in. Okay. So here we go. A little bit more of a different sort of price action with this, but just as interesting to look at. So I'm just going to zoom in on this as a whole. Okay. So we're looking at, we've got Monday here. Actually, it makes more sense for us to go to the 4th. Okay, so here we go. We've got Monday. The election was on Tuesday the 3rd. So this is the election, and here's the digestion of the results, right? So we're looking at more of the same. However, the price action was much different than what we saw in 2016. So let me just start. Let me start here. Actually, I don't know why it's doing this. Perfect. Okay. So here we are, the election. This is Tuesday. So we're looking at all of this inside action yet again, right? We have our inside action here before our move up. Just zoom in a little bit more. So Tuesday, this is midnight when Tuesday the futures market is open. So we've got chop and we have our push up. But we have some interesting price levels to look at this time as well. So I like to look at these basing candles where we have our immediate push up, which is super interesting, right? So we have our doji candle here at what is 3 a.m. on Tuesday. And then this kind of starts some inside action with a push up. But you'll notice you do have the push up. So if you're looking for longs through the remainder of the morning, you're just going to get chopped around. Because when we add another to where the top of this move was, we come up, have a little bit of a retest, and then we sell off, but we're still within this range. We're not experiencing any additional expansion beyond that point. So what does this tell you? Okay, if you're not going to catch this pre-market move at 8:30, well, then what are you going to do when you wait for the market to open? Well, here's the market open. You get somewhat of a push up, some choppy price action around, and then it just pushes us right back down into this range, and we're not seeing too much excitement on that. But what happens is, okay, well, here comes the election side of things where now we're in the after hours and ballots are being counted. We're starting to see somewhat of the result here. You can speculate as to what moves this or what creates these moves, but ultimately we aren't going to know for sure. Our job is to not predict what's going to happen. It's just to react to it. You can only predict to the best of your ability. And by all means, that's just a lot of shot in the dark. But we have our push up. And a lot of consolidation price action. You have consolidation here, you have consolidation here, followed by a move up and a downtrend. This is just ripsawing everything you think is going to be taking place in the market. And one thing I will say is that I don't have a lot of stock in levels holding their significance in major news events like this. And arguably the election is the biggest news event in the United States, followed by, a few other news events you can think hold some weight. But what I'm saying is look at this level from the pre-market, the day of the election, to the day of the election in the afternoon, opening hours through the afternoon, followed by the next day here on Wednesday. We're still very much expanding beyond this, but we're really rocking between these price levels. So here's the top of this zone that we're looking at pretty late into Tuesday. Market is digesting what happened, coming through. We bottom out down here, and then we push back up, and we really just chop around these levels. Now, mind you can certainly say, well, if you get in down here and you ride the wave and you hold, you're going to have a pretty good move. Yes. But again, look at this channel right here. If you're trading options and you're playing calls to the long side, let's say you got some calls down here, let's say you were holding an overnight position and you're swinging calls through the election, you're just getting chopped up and chewed through your theta. And the Greeks are pretty tough, but let's say you have the leverage to hold your futures overnight, you're probably not sleeping and you're watching all of this take place. So this is why I prefer to use these levels to establish what is going to take place the days after and the week after the election, not trade the day before and the day of the election. So that is why I prefer to use these candles to establish baseline zones or areas of importance and follow everything through after the fact, not trade the election itself. So let's move to November current time 2024. We obviously do not have the on-demand data for that. So when we're looking at the market is yet to open today, which is Monday the 5th, and then the 4th, and then tomorrow's the election. But this gives us a time frame as to what we're looking at on a more macro scale, right? So now the pricing, look at how this market has just ripped year over year. It's absolutely insane. Just bear with me as I manipulate all of this. But you'll notice leading into the close, not much of a big day or anything like that. Still very choppy, very inside, and I think we're going to be seeing that today, which is Monday the 4th, as well as tomorrow the 5th and Wednesday the 6th. I'll be doing a follow-up video on this, guys, so please, by all means, feel free to subscribe, comment down below what your election trading history is like and what your thoughts are. Some people who view this may find that comment useful, so by all means, please share that. Would love to have this community kind of start to lean on each other for some of these maybe major news events, some of these levels, or just overall historical context, I think is massive. So guys, please give me a subscription if you would. Appreciate that. Thumbs up, share with your friends. By all means, you know what? Let me know who you're even voting for in the comments. Doesn't matter to me, but I want to know what everyone's thinking. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.